This video describes how to add lessons to a class. In this particular case, I'm starting with the class Introduction to Space Medicine, which has no lessons at all. And when I click on the Lessons tab to add my first lesson, I click on the option Add Lesson. And if I want to, I can add a copy of an existing lesson, but in this case, I'm going to add a brand new one. So I click on New. And then I just have to put in the title of the lesson, which in this case is going to be Introduction. I can have an optional date if I want to schedule the lesson for a particular date. And then I put in just 1 or 2 lines, very brief description that the students will see. So this will be, this is an introduction to the class. So this should not be class notes, teacher notes. It's just a very simple description. So I save that. And then it takes me to the main page for the lesson. And a lesson is comprised of 4 main sections. There's the introduction section up here. There's the main content, which is kind of the bulk of the lesson. There's a collection of optional resources that the students might find useful, like images, videos, etc. And then you can have some teacher notes, which are only visible to the teacher and are hidden from the student. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to customize the picture just for fun. So I'm going to click on Change Picture. And from my computer, I'm going to select a picture of space medicine. And I'll save this. And now what you'll see in the description is that picture. And I recommend putting a nice picture in. It really makes it nicer for the students. In the main content area, this is just pure HTML, so you can put whatever you want here. So I'd normally put, a whole bunch of introductory text, blah, 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 blah. And this might go on for several paragraphs. Remember, this is the bulk of the lesson. This is what the lesson is going to be geared towards. But I might also put in, for example, a link to a video. So if I add the add link feature, I found on YouTube a pretty cool video. So I put the URL of the video in here. And even though you just see that URL sitting right there, when you actually save this HTML, our system will automatically embed the video for you, which is really nice. And I'll put a bit more text in here, and maybe I'll put an image as well. So I click on an image. And maybe I'll put a bigger version of that space medicine one. So there's a bigger version right there. And so when I put the bulk of all that content in, I just go ahead and say save. It'll take me back to the main lesson page. And lo and behold, we actually have the embedded YouTube video together with the actual the picture. And once I've finished that, there might be a few resources that I want to associate with this particular lesson. So I can click on Add Resource. And there are 3 main kinds. There's a link to a resource on the web, there's a file from your computer, or there's plain HTML. So firstly, I'm going to add a link to a resource on the web. And in this case, I've got the URL to the Wikipedia entry, all about space medicine. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. And by default, if you save a link to a web resource, it's shared with everyone in the community, because we figure since it's public domain, you may as well share the educational goodness. But if you want to, you can hide it. But we recommend just sharing it with everyone. And the cool thing is when you embed a web resource, it will actually embed the web page itself directly into the lesson. So the students don't have to click on it in order to see it. If you want to disable this, you can click on Hide Content, and it will just basically just show you the link, or you can toggle it and click on Show Content, and then you'll see the frame again. I'm going to add another resource. In this particular case, I'm going to add a file, and this file is on my computer. It's actually a PDF, a history of space medicine. And since this is not a link to a web resource, by default it's private, so only you and your students can see it. And if it's a file from your computer like a PDF, it will just simply put the link here, and if a student clicks on it, they will see the actual PDF. But if you uploaded an image, for example, it'll embed the image for you. Or if you embed a web resource and it happens to be a YouTube video, it'll actually embed the video for you. So generally, it does the kind of the smart thing, whatever it takes to display that thing. And then last of all, if you want, you can actually just embed pure text. So if I want to go in, I can click on that, and I can go into the editor, and here are some special custom notes from teacher, blah, 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 and I can embed videos and whatever else here. And when I save this, that text is basically embedded as a resource. So here's what I just added. And last but not least, if I go into teacher notes, I can put some, private notes to myself and my co-teacher. Go here. And there are my private teacher notes. So this basically shows you how to create an individual lesson. And in general, you just keep on clicking add and you can add as many lessons as you want. By default, when you add a lesson, the students can see it. And many times if you want to prepare lessons in advance, you might want to use this feature. This says only show lessons up to the current one. So if I enable that, and then I select a particular lesson as the current one, then only lessons up to that particular point will be visible to the students. And last of all, it's very easy to order these lessons or indent them left or right by selecting the lesson. You can indent it to the right, for example, if you want to put it under a unit, or you can move it to the left, or you can move it up and down. So that concludes the video about how to create a lesson. Like I say, generally put most of the content in the content section, add a few resources, and add some private notes for you and any co-teachers you might have.